This program contains dramatizations of real events and violent content. Viewer discretion is advised. A devastating fire ravages an apartment and claims a woman's life.
She died a horrible death. It makes for nightmares.
The victim's married lover stands accused of an unspeakable crime.
I think this was a crime of passion. He poured the gas on this poor girl and killed her.
But there are two sides to every story.
The investigation was flawed. I think they continue to try to put round pegs in square holes right to the very end of the case.
Now, two sets of experts are about to square off.
You're going to get experts doing battle back and forth whether or not there is gas, there isn't gas, how did the gas get there, how it didn't get there.
In my opinion, this fire was set deliberately.
Small halogen light fixtures will light things on fire if they come in contact. It seemed like an accident waiting to happen.
Tonight, on Forensics, You Decide. It's just before sunrise on a late July morning in Davie, Florida. Across town, a young couple is fast asleep in the two-bedroom apartment they share with new roommate Amanda Alley.
Amanda Alley was a 20-year-old young woman. She had only been living here in Florida about a year at the time.
She was kind of new to the area. She really didn't have a lot of friends.
It's a night like every other in this southern Florida town, until a loud boom echoes into the darkness and wakes the sleeping couple, changing their lives in an instant.
The roommate heard what sounded to him like an explosion. He immediately got out of bed.
And what he sees will haunt him forever.
He saw Amanda stepping out of her bedroom, and in his words, she was on fire.
The roommate pushes Amanda into the shower and turns on the water, extinguishing the flames.
And then he ran out to check on his girlfriend.
She's safe, but when he tries to go back for Amanda Alley, the intense heat and flames force him back out, leaving Amanda trapped inside. As the roommate retreats from the burning apartment, a familiar face runs towards him. Building owner Kazim Pagafri.
Almost immediately after this guy got out the door, Kaz appeared. It was like within seconds, he showed up on the scene.
One of the roommates handed the hose to Mr. Pagafri to put the fire out.
But their attempt to control the fire is fruitless. They place a desperate call to 911 for help.
We have a fire. There's a person trapped inside.
The person trapped inside?
Yes, ma'am. Send somebody over here.
Within minutes, the Davie Fire Department arrives to battle the blaze. Tragically, they are too late. Amanda Alley has perished in the fire. Her charred remains are found in the bathroom.
Amanda Alley died as a result of smoke inhalation.
As the sun peeks over the horizon, Lieutenant Joe Schwartz from the Florida State Fire Marshal's office is called to assess the scene.
I wasn't called till about 7 o'clock in the morning. Our detective on scene just informed me that there was a death fire, and there was no real other details at that point. When I came on the scene, the fire trucks were lined up in the driveway. I met with our detective, and at that time we got the information that we needed to begin the investigation.
Lieutenant Schwartz must determine if the fire was a horrible accident or something much more sinister.
All fires are basically work the same way, from outside to inside, and from least damage to most damage.
And he discovers the most fire damage by far is in the victim's bedroom.
So pretty quickly it was determined that Amanda Alley's bedroom was our area of origin.
But as for the cause of the fire,
We eliminated any electrical outlets, lighting, anything that could have typically possibly caused an accidental fire.
as they sift through the debris, investigators soon get their first clue that this was no accident.
Once we got around the bed, all of a sudden, in one shovelful, a strong odor of gasoline came up. It basically hit you in the face. This is gasoline.
Investigators find gasoline in 3 different places in Amanda's bedroom.
First sample was pulled from the top of her bed. The second sample was pulled from the floor beneath her bed, and the third sample was pulled from under the threshold of the door. The fact that we had that much gasoline suggests that gasoline was introduced to the house prior to the fire.
In other words, arson. Investigators believe the death of Amanda Alley is a deliberate murder, which means Detective John Stokes and Bob Spence of the Davie Police Department must begin the hunt for a killer.
I really had no idea what to expect. I knew there was a fire, and I knew that we had a body that had been pronounced deceased on the scene.
And almost immediately, detectives come across information that leads to a possible suspect.
We came to learn that there was a relationship between the owner of the store, Kazem Porgafari, and Amanda Alley.
Kazem Porgafari is a well-liked local businessman who owns the apartment and runs a computer store out of the same building.
Not only did he own a business here in Davie, Amanda Alley was also an employee of the computer company.
And he is the man who just happened to pull up to the scene moments after the fire broke out.
He's a middle-aged married man with children. He has a business that could suffer because of a divorce. Obviously, that was a big red flag.
Investigators immediately bring Porgafari down to the station for questioning.
The first interview we conducted with him was actually just a soft interview. It was more, let's see what he'll give us.
Well, the interview started off pretty good. It was cordial.
Until investigators bring up the affair.
Mr. Porgafari then began minimizing his relationship with Amanda Alley. And I was taken back a little bit by the fact that he was being so evasive regarding their relationship.
And there's something else that troubles the seasoned investigators.
There were singe marks on the back of his hair. I also noticed his hand was severely blistered.
It's a curious discovery, since neither roommate had any sort of burns or injuries.
He looked on the back of his hand, and that's where he found the burn marks. And it was almost like he got caught. At that point, he started trying to make excuses. Well, I must have done this while I was trying to put the fire out with the hose. His whole demeanor, everything instantly changed. You know, at that point, we realized that there was an issue regarding Mr. Porgafari's truthfulness.
Kazem Porgafari is emerging as the prime suspect, and investigators believe critical evidence may lie on his clothes.
We needed his clothing in order to see if there was any accelerants on his clothing.
When the lab results come back, they seal the case for detectives.
Gasoline was detected on the right shoe.
It's enough for an arrest. Kazem Porgafari is charged with arson and the murder of Amanda Alley.
Everything pointed toward Kazem Porgafari. The burns on his hand, the singeing of the hair, his arrival at the scene at such an early hour with no explanation. The fact that he had this relationship with her, ultimately finding gasoline on his shoes. I felt the case was pretty strong.
But it may not be quite that simple. Especially when Kazem Porgafari vehemently insists he's innocent and hires one of Florida's best defense attorneys, Michael Dutko, to argue his case.
A death had occurred, and law enforcement had decided that he was responsible for the death.
And Dutko knows he has his work cut out for him.
From the moment I became involved in the case, I knew that one of the biggest obstacles we faced was the fact that this relationship was inappropriate.
But everything changes when Dutko's team of experts takes a closer look at the crime scene evidence.
I believe in this case that the investigators misinterpreted what they saw.
Coming up, the defense begins to build their case, starting with the firefighters. And they turn the tables on investigators by claiming the fire wasn't arson at all.
The gasoline that was found was due to contamination.
But later, the state's experts completely discount the defense's theory.
In my opinion, this fire was set deliberately.
When Forensics You Decide continues.